Hi, Dave Scotland for cgswat.com, and welcome to another tutorial. Today we're going to take a look at some 3D graffiti in 3D Studio Max. I'm going to be using 2013, and this is the sort of thing we're going to end up creating. And I've just animated a little bit of a camera and processed it through some After Effects with some ambient occlusion. So it's a very simple render. But the process that I'll be taking you through today is really creating this in 3D Studio Max and taking you through the process of using splines and various modifiers to do some pretty interesting 3D graffiti effects. Now, I'll just give you a quick look at some of the reference that's available online. This is just a simple Google image search for 3D graffiti, and you can see some fantastic examples that are out there, and it's a great source for inspiration. And you can see all of the different variations that people are putting out in the world, and the process I'm about to show you, really 90% of everything that you see when you do a search for 3D graffiti can be created using the technique I'm about to show you in 3D Studio Max. Now, we are using 3D Studio Max, but you can use this same process in just about any 3D application, provided you have the ability to add modifiers to spline or vector lines, which is the technique we'll be using here. Thoroughly suggest that you give Google Image a little bit of a look before you attempt your own variation on this tutorial, but I also suggest that you try this tutorial as I've laid it out first and then attempt your own using your own techniques. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you while we've got the browser open here is the source for the fonts that we're going to be using. And I've actually used dafont.com, these are free fonts, and if you just put in a search for graffiti, there's an entire section dedicated to it, and you will find literally hundreds of different graffiti fonts available. Now, there is a bit of a gotcha, and I'll show you that when we get into 3D Studio Max, but definitely go through all of the available fonts that you can find and come up with something that really suits the style that you're trying to go for. Okay, so let's get started. In 3D Max, we want to create some text first. And the easiest way to do that, of course, you can do this by hand,